How every famous actor died. Number 8. Heath Ledger. How does someone at the peak of talent and success disappear overnight? The death of Heath Ledger shocked Hollywood and audiences around the world. Ledger was widely respected for his acting range, intensity, and commitment to roles. He wasn't just successful, he was rising fast, taking on deeper performances and proving himself as one of the most gifted actors of his generation. Then, in 2008, everything changed. He was found dead in a New York apartment. Only 28 years old, the news spread instantly because it felt impossible. Someone so young, so talented, gone without warning. The official cause was ruled an accidental overdose involving multiple prescription medications, not one substance, but a dangerous combination that affected breathing and the body's normal function. There was no sign of intention to die. It was classified as accidental, a tragic outcome caused by substances that can become deadly when mixed. What made the moment even heavier was timing. He had recently completed his now iconic performance as the Joker, a role that would later earn massive praise and an Academy Award after his death. So the world was watching someone deliver one of the greatest performances of his career. After he was already gone, his death became a reminder of how fragile life can be, even in moments of success. A gifted actor, lost at the height of his potential. Number 7. Robin Williams. How does someone who made millions laugh die in silence? The death of Robin Williams was one of the most heartbreaking losses in entertainment history. Williams was known for energy, warmth, and extraordinary talent. He could be hilarious one moment, deeply emotional the next. He made audiences laugh across generations, while also delivering serious performances that showed remarkable depth. To the world, he seemed unstoppable, full of life, full of light, but private struggles can stay hidden. In 2014, Robin Williams was found dead at his home. The cause was ruled suicide. The news shocked millions because people often assume laughter means happiness. But real suffering doesn't always look visible. Later, another truth emerged. Williams had been suffering from Lewy body dementia, a severe neurological disorder that can cause anxiety, confusion, sleep disruption, depression, and cognitive decline. At the time, it had not been fully diagnosed. Those close to him later described how intensely he had been struggling. What looked from the outside like emotional pain alone was also a devastating physical brain disease affecting his mind and body. That changed how many people understood his death. It wasn't a simple story. It was a painful intersection of illness, confusion, and suffering. A man who gave joy to the world was quietly fighting something most people could not see. And when he was gone, the silence felt enormous. Number 6. Paul Walker. How does someone known for speed lose everything in a single moment? The death of Paul Walker shocked fans around the world and felt especially tragic because of how sudden it was. Walker was widely loved for his role in the Fast and Furious franchise. He was associated with cars, adrenaline, and action. But off-screen, he was also known for kindness, charity work, and a calm personality that many people respected. In 2013, Paul Walker attended a charity event in California. It was a normal day. Public posit. Nothing suggested tragedy was close. After the event, he became a passenger in a high-performance sports car driven by a friend. Then suddenly, everything changed. The car lost control, crashed violently, and caught fire. The impact was catastrophic. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but there was no saving either of them. Walker was only 40 years old. The reaction was immediate. Shock, disbelief. Millions of fans struggled to process it because it felt unreal. Someone so energetic and present, gone in seconds. What made the loss even heavier was timing. He was still in the middle of film projects, including a major franchise that had to be reworked after his death. His passing became a reminder of how fast life can turn. One ordinary day, one sudden moment, and everything changes. A man famous for motion and speed, lost in the very thing people associated with his image most. Number 5. Bruce Lee. How does someone who seemed physically unstoppable die without warning? The death of Bruce Lee remains one of the most debated losses in entertainment history. Bruce Lee was more than an actor. He was a global symbol of discipline, speed, strength, and confidence. He changed martial arts cinema forever and inspired millions around the world, which is why his sudden death in 1973 felt impossible to many people. He was only 32 years old. On the day he died, Bruce Lee had been meeting colleagues in Hong Kong and working on film projects. At some point, he complained of a headache. He was given medication and later lay down to rest. Then something unexpected happened. He became unresponsive. Attempts were made to revive him, but it was too late. The official cause of death was cerebral edema, swelling of the brain. Some reports suggested a reaction to medication may have triggered it, but because he was young, fit, and widely seen as the image of health. Many people struggled to accept that explanation, and that uncertainty created decades of theories. Some suspected hidden illness. Others suggested overexertion or heat-related factors. More extreme rumors spread as well. But no alternative theory was ever proven. What remains clear is this: a man who seemed stronger than ordinary limits was taken by something invisible and sudden. No final fight, no warning. Just a shocking end that turned into one of Hollywood's longest-running mysteries. Number 4. Chadwick Boseman. How does someone carry immense pain while inspiring the world at the same time? The death of Chadwick Boseman was one of the most emotional losses in modern entertainment. Boseman was admired not only for talent, but for presence, strength, grace, purpose. He became globally recognized through powerful performances, especially as Black Panther, a role that meant far more than entertainment to millions of people. He represented pride, dignity, and possibility. Then, in 2020, the world learned something almost no one knew. For years, Chadwick Boseman had been privately battling colon cancer. He had undergone surgeries and treatment while continuing to work, filming movies, making public appearances, giving performances, all while carrying a serious illness in silence. Very few outside his inner circle knew the truth. When news broke that he had died at age 43, the shock was immediate, because people had watched him create, lead, and inspire, without realizing the struggle happening behind the scenes. What made his death so impactful was not only the loss itself, but how he lived through it. He continued working, continued showing up, continued giving strength to others while managing his own pain. A man admired as a hero on screen showed extraordinary courage off-screen as well. His final legacy became larger than acting. It became resilience. Number 3. James Dean. How does someone become immortal after such a short life? The death of James Dean turned a rising star into a permanent legend. Dean was young, talented, and unlike anyone else in Hollywood at the time. He carried a rebellious energy that connected deeply with audiences, natural charisma, emotional intensity, a presence that felt modern before its time. He had only made a few major films, but his impact was already enormous. Then, in 1955, everything ended suddenly. James Dean was driving his sports car in California on the way to a racing event. Cars were one of his passions. Speed fascinated him. But during the journey, another vehicle entered the intersection ahead. There was little time to react. The collision was violent. Severy. Dean suffered critical injuries and died shortly after. He was only 24 years old. The shock was immediate, because his career had barely begun. There was so much potential still ahead. Yet the story stopped instantly. And that abrupt ending changed everything. Instead of slowly aging out of fame, James Dean became frozen in time, forever young, forever intense, forever associated with youth, rebellion, and unrealized potential. His death didn't end his image, it magnified it. A star with only a brief career, who became one of the most recognizable legends in cinema history. Sometimes a short life leaves the longest shadow. Number 2, Marilyn Monroe. How does one of the most recognizable faces in the world die alone behind a closed door? The death of Marilyn Monroe remains one of Hollywood's most discussed mysteries. Marilyn was more than a movie star. She became a global symbol of beauty, fame, and celebrity culture. Everywhere she went, attention followed. But public admiration often hides private pain. Behind the image were struggles with pressure, loneliness, relationships, and emotional difficulty. In August 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her home in Los Angeles. She was alone, no audience, no cameras, just silence. The official cause of death was ruled an overdose involving barbiturates, and the case was classified as probable suicide. But almost immediately, questions began. People debated timelines. Who had spoken to her last? Why details seemed inconsistent, whether it was accidental, whether others were involved. Over time, countless theories emerged. Some tied her death to powerful people. Others believed it was a tragic accident rather than intentional. None of those theories were ever proven. And that uncertainty helped keep the story alive for decades. What makes her death so haunting is the contrast. A woman constantly surrounded by fame ended life in complete isolation. A person seen by millions, yet unreachable in her final moments. Her story became larger than celebrity. It became a reminder that fame does not guarantee peace, safety, or happiness. A bright public image with a dark and unanswered ending. Number 1, Cameron Boyce. How does someone so young, bright, and full of promise disappear so suddenly? The death of Cameron Boyce deeply affected fans around the world because it felt especially unfair. He was energetic, charismatic, and talented. To many viewers, he represented youth, humor, and positivity. Then, in 2019, everything changed overnight. Cameron Boyce died in his sleep at only 20 years old. The news shocked millions because there had been no public warning of a serious health crisis. He seemed to have his whole life ahead of him. Later, his family shared that his death was caused by a seizure linked to epilepsy, a medical condition he was being treated for. That revelation also raised awareness for many people who did not fully understand how serious epilepsy can be. Because, from the outside, someone can appear healthy, while carrying a condition that can become life-threatening without notice. What made his passing so painful was the age. The sense of unfinished potential. A young star who brought joy to many people. Gone far too soon. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.